It's that time of week again. It's Sunday, 9 p.m. Central European time, and we have people from at least 3 different time zones in the on the show today. And both of our guests have a couple of small YouTube channels, which kind of shows on the number of people watching now, because we've never had so many people watching when we start the stream. That is
Very
awesome.
Good. Invited the right guys.
We probably did. And we're so many people that the window is so small. So I'm going to try to point the right down. There is Andy, Kirby, and Lewis. And they're going to help us understand Meshtastic a little bit. Just as a little bit of a follow-up from the Laura episode we had before Christmas. But before we get started there, let's talk about our ham radio weeks. And Bob, would you like to start today?
Yeah, I've been told to keep it short since we're many people, so I will try. I've been to Spain. I activated the same park 4 days. I activated a mountain down there. I got home. I went to the Norwegian ham meeting, which is a pretty big deal in Norway. And on the tail end of that, I activated another mountain today with Lima Bravo 9 Hotel India, which is Lima Alpha Hotel 006, I think, Mistberget, which was about 2.5 hours of walking uphill in snow, and then 120 QSOs in about 60 minutes. So it's an excellent activation, but a bit of a long trek.
That is one impressive soda activation, though.
That was great fun. 20 watts from the G90 up there.
Awesome. And since you went to a Hamfest, though, Bob, and I mean, I got to ask you this, because you're not going to say that you didn't buy anything. No, any right. What did you buy there?
2 beers.
Seriously?
Seriously.
You came home from the Hamfest without buying anything?
Well, I bought 2 beers, but I returned the bottles. That's yeah.
I mean, you don't have any impulse control. How did you manage to do that?
There was nothing cool on sale.
You still buy something, though.
Yeah. I was really, really disappointed. I went there. I really looking for a D710 because I want that radio for my desk at home. Basically, I have a good TEHRS radio in the car, but I want that one for my desk at home. So that's basically what I was looking for. Nobody sold it. I couldn't find anything.
There was a lot of junk on sale yesterday, though. Not really much gold. But let's go into the next one and keep it a little bit short on this segment this week, since we're 7 people here. Walt, you've been out testing a 64-1, I think I saw today.
Yep. To be real quick, just like the week before and the week before and the week before that, went to the beach, built an antenna, ran the coax inside my Jeep, sat in the Jeep, and talked to people in Europe.
Yeah. That's concise.
That is concise, and that's everything.
Fine, that's what I did. So there you go.
Yeah.
Kjetil?
Yeah, I tested the antenna I bought off Tim N9 SAB that we had here a few weeks back. I got a nice deal on testing that, and that was really fun. So I've done 2 SOTAs with it. I think I've done a POTA as well, just for the fun of it. And then I went to a Hamfest together with you guys yesterday and some others. So that was really nice. Eyeball QSOs are really nice. Bought some random stuff there without wasting too much money. And that's about it for my week. Yeah, and one more thing. I went to a radar rally meeting just before this one, planning the next radar rally. If you remember, we had Greg on talking about that last year. So that's going to be fun coming up again.
And let's just recap. Radar is Rapid Amateur Radio Deployment and Redeployment, isn't it?
Something like that. Rapid Deployment Amateur Radio.
Something rapid.
Yeah. So the point is lots of QSOs, lots of locations in a short time. So, yep.
Absolutely good. We're keeping it really short today, actually, and on topic. Tobias?
I built a poor man's stream deck over the last few days. So I don't know if you want to enlarge the video. Not so special.
I'm find you here in the control panel, and I'll do it like this.
Okay, so 6 buttons, Raspberry Pi Pico variant, and a little OLED display, and yeah, that will be my Stream Deck then for doing live streams when I'm soldering stuff. And
Awesome.
apart from that, I participated into the what was it? The mega stream for the YouTubers. Yeah, I think you had great fun, Morten. And I didn't break the pile up, but I listened to Isabella breaking the pile up with Carl, so that was already worth it.
That was, I mean, that was so awesome. She came through to me as well, and just hearing that 10-year-old voice breaking through all the pileups, it was fantastic.
Exactly, and hearing it live on the radio, fantastic. Yeah, I hope she'll get her license eventually.
I hope so, because she'll manage to break a lot of pileups.
Yeah, that was it from my side.
That was it. So our 2 guests, though, Andy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How has your ham radio week been? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, so if you don't know me already, Andy Kirby from the YouTube channel, Andy Kirby. I never thought of a better name, really. Well, there's probably millions of better names, but yeah. So I originally started the channel doing radio stuff, and I kind of went from radio into other all aspects of stuff. I got sidetracked with solar and kind of energy and EVs as well. I've kind of people that I meet out and about, who watch the channel, they sort of say, "Oh, I was looking across and I watched your channel for this, and then I started to research something else, and then you just pop up for that." So I've got this attention span that I'm just constantly like, all different subjects.
Basically, you're doing the complete opposite of what YouTube recommends, and you still get a lot of views from it.
I'll probably get more.
I discovered your channel, Andy. I used to be a Porsche owner, and I think you popped up for some reason under a Porsche. And that's how...
Yeah, there's car stuff. There's car stuff on there as well. But yeah, it absolutely does not help. Doing broad, being so broad with the different subjects and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of radio stuff, and I've seen it kind of really pick up on the radio stuff. So yeah, it's all good.
Awesome. And how's your week been? What have you been up to radio-wise?
I mean, Meshtastic has taken over. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's been pretty crazy. Yeah, there's just so many new users in the area, and there's so many different kind of things you can sort of experiment with this. So yeah, I mean, I'm just out and about, going to local hills. I know Lewis has been doing the same as well. Just basically trying to, discover more contacts, learn more about 868 megahertz, because in the EU we use obviously we're not in the EU, are we actually? But
there's only one guy in the EU down here actually.
Yeah, so 868 megahertz. It's just been absolutely fascinating learning about this, because we don't have an allocation that we can use in that portion of the spectrum. So the closest thing we've got is 1.2 gig, like the 23 SEMS band. So yeah, I've just been really interested in how it's so interesting how it propagates, the reflections you get, and just the RF side. That's what's kind of got me buzzing as much as the rapid takeoff of Meshtastic as it's happened. So yeah, that's what's been keeping me busy. I did a little bit of chat on the local repeater today, but other than that, I keep meaning to do a bit more real radio. But it's where you end up getting obsessed with stuff, don't you?
Yeah, that's part of the hobby as well.
Yeah.
And Lewis, good to have you back on the show. What have you been up to the last week?
Yeah, so we had sort of the rollout of a lot of new amateur radio rules around licensing in the hobby. Lots of really good opportunities and things. And then there was a Hamfest this weekend, a local one, but I haven't done any of that. I've not touched amateur radio for ages, because I'm like Andy, just been wrapped up in like putting amazing erections up on poles on hills, and then playing with this sort of stuff. So yeah, I've just been completely wrapped up in Meshtastic the last month, really. Yeah, it's been a 24/7 hobby. I'm thousands of pounds down as well, really. So I'm hoping we can have a whip round at the end of this. So so that's been my week. I missed the radio rally. Not done any amateur radio whatsoever. But yeah, that's been my week. Just enjoying Meshtastic.
Still radio though. Still radio. So I think
it's still radio.
It
It's
is.
still
It
it's
is.
still RF, and that's the fun part of it, though. And we'll touch back on that in just a little while. And I guess it's me now. My ham radio week. Let's try to keep it short. I went on a POTA activation on Wednesday. Did the YouTubers live stream together with all the UK YouTubers on Friday. The only one that wasn't from the UK actually participating in that. Hamfest yesterday, and played around with the stuff I bought on the Hamfest today. And I just got to show you, this has to be the most ham thing you've seen today, or perhaps this year. Let me see if I can.
I think
find the
Lewis'
right.
action was the most ham thing I've seen today.
Because I bought a radio without a built-in speaker, and I just needed an enclosure. And since it's Sunday, I had to work with what I had. So this is what the hub is about: improvising and building stuff.
And Pringles.
And Pringles.
And eating chips. Very good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the box was already empty, though. So that's about it. If you want to see what I bought at Hamfest and how that was, I got a video out, and Shitter's got a video out over there. So, yeah, that's the Ham Radio Week segment. The quickest we've ever done it, actually.
Yep.
Tobias, on to the next segment, the YouTube channel of the week.
Right. Yeah. Let me.
I'm
switch.
gonna.
Okay, let's make it quick. I think last week when we did our tubes better or worse than transistors, we were not really doing the topic justice. So I found this very nice YouTube channel. Unfortunately, it's German, Radio Bauprojekte, but it has some really excellent videos. So and some excellent playlists. So if you go to playlists, there's a complete course about tubes. So you can click on there, probably not click play, and you have lots and lots of videos, the basics of tubes, a pentode, a triode, etc., how it works. And yeah, it's really very great channel. I can recommend it. I hope the auto translate works. You should check it out. I'm through to, I don't know, number 10 of the tube tutorial playlist. And yeah, I find it very interesting. It's a bit technology before my time, but nevertheless, I think it's good knowing about it.
Awesome.
And that was it from my side already.
Yep.
You can post the channel in the chat. I'll copy it over and post it in the chat.
And I've watched a couple of German YouTube channels, but I know a little bit of German. I still use the subtitles, and they're usually halfway decent. But you have some other experiences with that, Kjetil, don't you?
Yeah, but that's more my name. So
Yeah.
let's not get banned from YouTube.
No, let's just say it involved some former heads of state that shouldn't be mentioned on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a big list.
some former European heads of state from the 30s and 40s that shouldn't be mentioned on YouTube.
Still a substantial list, I think, but okay. Let's leave it at that.
I do love seeing all these old videos like these channels. There's so much nice tech info there. So
absolutely, I see we have a lot more activity in the chat than usual, and I'm trying to keep up with it. And hopefully, Bob, you're the co-producer, so if you see anything worth putting up on screen, help me out there.
I'll do this then. At least I have a really hard time doing one thing at a time. So if I try to do two, that could be an implosion. But Tobias, since you're actually watching that channel now, because I think a few weeks ago I promised at some point to explain the difference between an L match and a Z match, and I fully intend to do that. I don't know what year it's going to be, but I fully intend to do that. So maybe you can explain to us how at some point how the tubes work.
Right. I will look up the one that I have in my stash, the big one, and get the pin out for it. And I can try my worst to explain it.
Speaking about that, I had a talk with Lima Alpha 6 NCA yesterday, the guy with the YouTube channel with the old World War II German radios, and he recreates them. And he was showing off how all of these older radio worked. And I pretty much just nodded and said yes.
All right, I got to ask the question here. I'm probably the only grandfather here, and he was talking about old technology. So I want to kick this off and get on topic with me being an old guy. I really centered around HF. Guys, Andy, you got Lewis. Treat me like I know nothing, because I know nothing about Meshtastic. So get me going. Get me going, guys. Tell me what it's all about.
Go on, Andy.
Basically, Meshtastic is an off-grid, completely RF-based messaging system, and it allows you. Where is it? It's kind of similar to packet radio, right? So if you understand what packet, APRS and that sort of thing, it's like that, but with kind of bells on it. It's like that for the sort of modern age. It uses LoRa, which is the long-range chipset. It's actually there's one company makes the LoRa chipset, but effectively it allows you to. It's a very, very low noise floor mode, much lower than packet radio. So it operates at like minus 100 and 150 dB. So it's incredibly low noise floor. It's kind of a bit like I suppose like FT8 is to the sort of I shouldn't say that really. many people don't like FT8. But
ding 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 ding. We've lost all viewers. No?
One strike already.
but still, Andy, the people that don't like FT8, they're probably not watching our channel anyway. So
this is they are certainly not going to pick up on Meshtastic. So I think we're safe.
Yeah.
So Meshtastic really is just is a software that runs on many different types of hardware, which is why we like it in the sort of ham world. We've kind of grabbed onto it because the hardware is super cheap. You can just flash the software pretty easy, and it allows you to message. You can send location information, beaconing, lots of different things. You can get information from sensors and kind of forward them across. But what's unique about it is the way the system meshes together. So the more nodes you've got in an area, they'll link and they'll pass the information through. So they'll pass the packets through. So you can end up with, a very, very wide coverage area very quickly and very cheaply. Like digipeaters are in packet radio, it bounces the packets across. But we've just seen the growth on this has been so crazy that now we can do like 20 kilometers back to eat. Well, this is the minimum. I mean, I'm seeing from here, I can message someone 20 kilometers away, sitting in the living room. I send a message out from my smartphone, which is connected to Bluetooth by one of these nodes, and it will hop up to a Yagi that I've got outside and then beam across to the next station. The next station picks that up, passes it on. So you end up with this amazing performance that is completely off the internet, offline. It's completely operating, by RF, which is brilliant. They can see why we love it.
Andy, can I just say something?
Yeah.
So just firstly, you say about range there. So I actually made a nearly 90 kilometer range direct connection yesterday using this with nothing in between. And then there was a comment that came up then saying, "Oh, great, there's something new to kill amateur radio with."
I think that was a joke, by the way, Lucy.
Yeah, that is a joke from Stuart, though.
Stuart has a good sense of humor.
Yeah. So, but just on that sort of topic, I've seen more people on Meshtastic this last month than I've heard on 2 meters and 70 centimeters in the past 3 years.
This is the truth of it, and it's become a bit of a gateway sort of drug as well. That's the other thing, like you're getting people, because it's operating predominantly in an ISM band, so it's 868 here, and anyone can use it. It's got a 500.
Just buy a device and use it. Yeah, you don't need a radio license, and maybe you get addicted and start to do other things as well sooner or later.
Kind of like this is CD radio for the 20s.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. We have so there's a public channel, and it's just so cool to see. I mean, about two and a half, 3 months ago, I was on there on my own, and there was no one else around. And after a few videos and Lewis and doing some stuff and kind of really pushing to get people on, chucking a few of these nodes out to friends and family, that sort of thing. Now it is like a CB channel 14 or 19. It kind of is not as bad language, but it's but it's like, morning guys, how's everyone doing? It's just fantastic, and this is completely off the internet.
Yeah,
I love
and
it.
the really interesting thing is as well is that I'd say up here in the northwest, I think we've logged getting on for 300 nodes now in the past 2 weeks, and I'd say 70% of them, they're not licensed radio amateurs either, which is really good. A lot of them have no clue what amateur radio is. I think it's a great segue into the hobby, and a great way of learning the concept of radio, how radio travels, especially within UHF. I think it's a really, really good learning curve for new people.
But you've got the spirit of ham radio that's there as well. So you might have like a local ham, and he might have some antennas, or someone's bought some antennas and they have one spare. Someone's having trouble to get into the net, and their messages are a bit flaky. And they're sort of messaging out, "Oh, meet us by the such and such pub or whatever at 7 p.m. and we'll bring you a new antenna." It's like, that's amazing, absolutely brilliant.
Awesome. And I just want to touch. Dave's got a comment here that it's 915 megahertz in the United States,
it is, and
but then again, you also have the 433 megahertz band, which technically is within this amateur 70 centimeter band, but have some ISM frequencies within it, although with a lower power.
It's a lot lower power. Yeah,
you're restricted to 10 milliwatts, I think. But and I just want to touch on this a little bit, because I talked to another ham at the Hamfest yesterday, and there is actually starting to pop up a lot of Meshtastic on 433 around or in southeastern Norway. He showed me the map of the nodes, and seemed to have been it seemed to have started with people starting to experiment with LoRa APRS, and then it was kind of people got told that the bandwidth exceeded the amateur radio bandwidth on it. And that was actually specified by the Norwegian Telecommunications Authority at the Hamfest yesterday. So a lot of people around here have spare 433 megahertz boards, and I guess that's why 433 is popping up. But have you tried 433, or is it only 868 over there in the UK?
Yeah, we've tried 433. In fact, there's a local group close to me that originally had 433 going on, and they were making contact and stuff. So what happened? What happened further on is they realised that all the activity was on 868. So they created like a bridge. So with a Raspberry Pi, just a Raspberry Pi Zero, or even probably less actually, but you can run an MQTT server, which is just a very resilient way of sending messages and stuff over the internet. It's similar to like what kind of the Helium network does, another 868 thing. But basically they created like a crossband repeater, so it would relay. So all of a sudden one day I saw a load of 433 nodes pop up on the 868 mesh. So that was pretty cool to see. So I've tried it. Obviously, there's not as many people around on there at the moment. It's and it's a shame really that the ham LoRa hasn't taken off. But I think it's probably for lack of a decent guide and hardware support. Because the little TEHRS, we've got one here. These can run. It's in front of the camera. If it focuses, these can run. There's an APRS firmware for these. Seen that?
The thing is, though, at least here in Norway, the maximum bandwidth on the amateur bands below 23 centimeters is 30 kilohertz. Yeah. And the minimum bandwidth for LoRa is 125 kilohertz. So
that's right.
That's why the league suddenly told at least me, and I guess a couple of other people as well, that you shouldn't be running LoRa APRS, because that's what was my gateway into LoRa. And now I have two 433 megahertz boards, though, so I'm probably gonna repurpose those for Meshtastic and see if I can get any contacts on it.
Yeah, it's worth doing. In fact,
you can use them on TinyGS as well for the satellite.
Yeah, I got a TinyGS ground station up, and it was fun to set it up, but I don't really see what I can do. I can't really do anything about it
No.
except see where I can receive packets. So
I think
think,
we're using 433 round here, and we tried on a hilltop yesterday. We made a 42-kilometer contact from radio to radio, direct
I love
again
this.
yesterday. So.
Meshtastic DXing. This is
It's crazy, yeah.
but seriously though, that distance on 10 milliwatts on 70 centimeters, that's amazing.
Yeah, but do you get these for 2 meters as well?
I haven't seen any, no, because the
No.
chipsets are generally designed for. It's quite a wide range, but it starts at around 400 megahertz.
But you have to buy them specifically for each band, right? So you can't.
Well, the actual chips are dual mode, so they literally will do the whole span. But I think the matching circuit inside, because we've had some people try to run 433 on 868, and it works. It actually puts the signal out, and it's no problem. But I think the matching is different between the two boards, so you might not get the optimum performance out of it. But you could absolutely try your 433s and put them in the 868 mode, and it probably would work.
Yeah,
It just depends on the radio board there, though.
Yeah, and I would guess they have low pass filters on board. So if you try to run something with a low pass filter for 433 on 868, then
it would have
there's
that
not going to be an awful lot of output.
It would it'd have that first harmonic filtered out, wouldn't it? But I suppose
don't worry about it. One thing with back to Lewis and that long contact. In summertime, you have tropo, you know what I mean, the sporadic E and all that good stuff that happens up in the up, the high frequencies. You guys then, like Andy, you should go to the highest point and you could go to in your area, and Lewis, you should go to the highest point you guys. That would be a killer video if y'all could.
We want to. Yeah. We want to break the world record at some point, don't we?
It's a long way, isn't it? I think it's at over 200 miles or something.
Yeah, let's see
what
Tobias
think.
Tobias has a map up. Let's see what he's trying to show us there.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if there's already any Meshtastic run happening in Germany. It still looks a bit sparse, but the UK is like plastered full of Meshtastic nodes. It looks like. Does the color tell me anything? The orange one is one frequency and the green one another, or
you can just see the two areas of congestion. The one in the north is me, and the one is in the south is Andy.
okay, yeah,
and they're all our nodes as well.
yeah, they're all ours. Yeah.
Okay, so if I go here into the Munich area, it looks a bit sparse. So that's my location here, but maybe where's just
what's this?
I don't know. I just googled for global Meshtastic nodes, and that's what I found.
While you're there, I know this is the European channel, but skip across.
Let's have a look there. What's going on? Oh yeah, there's also.
I see a green dot right where I'm at. There.
Let's zoom in where it says Virginia Beach. There, that's almost your location, isn't Walt?
Right where I'm at. Zoom in. Oh wow.
These are gray, so that's 915 megahertz. Then
it's literally on. It's got to be like my neighborhood. That is right where I live. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you check southeastern Norway as well?
Get the SDR out. Get the SDR out and see. You can easily see it.
That looks a bit empty, but.
No, hey, I'm interested. When we get through with this map, Andy, I want to know about that SDR. With my SDR, what would I need to do to go look?
You can absolutely just receive it like any other signal, but it's like it looks like diagonal lines. It's a strange modulation sort of technique. It's kind of just lots of zigzags, isn't it, Lewis? You've sort of seen it before.
I think you can improve the coverage a bit here, guys.
Hey, we're working on it. I just switched jobs, so my chance to go there for work is gone. I just went to work for an Aussie company, an Australian company. This is my office. That's why I took the job. I get to stay home now. No, my wife and I we go to the UK when we can, and we're down near Andy when we go. We used to go to London, but I told her I want to roll up to Manchester and spend some time. We've been talking about maybe coming over for 2 or 3 weeks and
it's cold up there.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, even in summer
Okay,
it's cold in
so
Manchester.
maybe a question to you guys. So if somebody is completely new into Meshtastic, what would you recommend him to get? A 168 device with 1 watt or
868, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
868, yeah.
an 868 board.
Yeah, people are obsessed with like buying the most expensive like one that they can find, but the little Heltec board is just perfect, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, it's the cheapest one. It's ESP32, so it's not particularly power efficient. So you kind of have this situation where if you want to, naturally, the first thing that every Meshtastic or every person that gets into this mesh radio thing does, they're right. How many can I buy? I want to buy as many as possible, and I want to put them in every person's house that I know. And I want to, it's a standard procedure. We can almost like document it. I see it on my Discord, like people. Right, so I'm going to put one now at my friend's house, and then it expands. It's like, right, we need to find a covert place to stick them on local hilltops and things like that. And the first thing that you end up with is the problem of the ESP32 boards. They just drain so much power. It's like 100 milliwatts or something like that, continuous, like for a standby without any transmit. And there are other boards out there that run a lot less. They run a lot more efficiently. So use different chipsets, including a Raspberry Pi Pico. You can they run at about 30 milliwatts or something, milliamps. Sorry. So they're very efficient. So if you're going to put one of those up a hill, that's what a lot of people are doing. But a simple, Heltec V3 LoRa 32 board.
can you put the link in the private chat? I think Morten can share it.
Yeah,
in
I can share it.
the community.
They've sold out everywhere now.
I wonder why.
Certainly after this show, no.
I'm gonna go out and buy all the ones in the States here, and then I'll ship them over.
Just one question, guys. You mentioned the LoRa 32 board from Liligo. That's that doesn't have a GPS though. How important is a GPS for Meshtastic?
It is important, but you can, because you're pairing your smartphone, there's a nice feature on there which shares your GPS from your phone onto the mesh. So that's cool. That's clever.
I mean, as long as you're not moving, you can get your coordinates in. That's what you're saying, huh?
Yeah, well, it updates. It updates as well. So it's got a smart beaconing sort of thing. So most people use their phone GPS and just use like a small like Heltec node, something like that. I've got a little camera battery on the back of that one. But and it just works. Just works very, very well like that. Obviously, then becomes it's the RF. You're into the RF game, antennas and that whole, the thing that we love to mess around with. And
because now you're venturing into amateur radio territory, though.
Yes,
both using a good antenna with a lot of gain, and most of all on those frequencies, good coax.
Yeah, the coax is crazy. And the terrible connectors. The biggest problem is the on the back of a lot of Wi-Fi routers, you've got the reverse polarity where it hasn't got the pin. So you get people buying. Yeah. Oh, and the people buy the LoRa antennas, which are designed for helium with no pin, and then they wonder why they actually receive signals. That's the mad thing. They can receive the signals, but they can never talk back to anyone.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
I'd like to get this in a bit early in the show in case we lose viewers, because I was talking to Mihai, which we had on talking about LoRa APRS. He was the one I did the activation with today, by the way. And because we in Norway we're having this issue with the league and NCOM, which is the Telecommunications
Authority.
Yeah, I thought we try and create a sort of a survey about what's the rules for the different frequencies in the different countries across Europe. So for our viewers, if you have insights into this, I would love some information on the following. What bandwidth can you use on the 70 SIMS allocation as an amateur in your country? I'd love to know that. What power levels are you allowed to use in your country for the ISM, for the different ISM bands, and what are the bandwidth limitations? If you could provide that information, I would love to create some sort of a summary of all the rules within Europe. If you have links preferably with maybe a summary if the links are in a language that I don't understand, which is basically everything except for Norwegian, English, and C. Then that would help. But if you could, I'll put our email address up on the ticker here. It's cq@hamshow.eu.
Yeah, and also if you want to join our Discord, there is a LoRa channel on our Discord, hamshow.eu/Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. So please feel free to join there as well if you have information to share, or just send it to me by email. I'll try to create sort of a summary, because this would be very useful also when we go to talk to the Norwegian telecommunications authorities to see if there's any room or any way to change these rules to allow us as radio amateurs to use this technology as radio amateurs, not in the ISM under the ISM rules. That would be very helpful. Also, I have a quick question. What's an IED? I don't know.
It's an improvised explosive device.
All right. Thank you so much.
Let's see here. Jeff says that they eliminated a baud rate cap for frequencies in the United States, and that still wouldn't help with LoRa though on the amateur bands, because it's not a baud rate limitation, it's a bandwidth limitation. Yeah, and the smallest LoRa bandwidth is still it's still 4 times as wide as the largest amateur bandwidth.
I think it's this chip modulation, isn't it? So very wide and very robust.
But as far as I understood, there is a change coming to the Norwegian rules, but it's still got to move through the legislative process though, so it's going to take a lot more than a couple of days. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we moved. I believe we moved ours to the top of the 77s band at like 439, because my original devices came on like 433. I don't know. They're almost like slap in the middle of that ISM band, which also happens to be the 77s amateur repeater output. Is that right, Lewis? I think like the 433 is basically.
Yeah, and there's also the LPD allocation there as well for voice.
So it's carnage. There's loads of stuff.
And the Ministry of Defence use the band as well. So it's really cramped band.
And then every car key as well.
Yeah,
a lot of people had trouble opening their cars at the Hamfest yesterday.
I tell you,
but they do car keys at 868 as well here in Germany. Yeah, so the expensive
I was
Mercedes cars, they're all on 868.
Are they? Wow.
Once again, I just plugging equipment. This can open cars apparently. So that's the Hack RF porta pack. Yeah, and that one too. It's more portable.
I just
never far away. It's never far away.
I just got to ask you two guys, since you're showing off the Flipper Zero there, how many Tesla charging ports have you opened at once?
Don't answer that. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Well, I don't know. If you connect it to a massive collinear, then probably quite.
But don't bring it to Canada, right?
Yeah, I bought mine about 5 weeks ago, and I've never even switched it on.
That's the spirit. That's what I would say as well. This one too, never been switched on, not even charged.
Yeah.
So
I just gotta say, I got a short video out on how to open a Tesla charging door, and in my defense, I knew the guy having the Tesla, at least one of those.
Yeah. Do you know it shut? I don't know how I know this, but it shuts after a while anyway. So
yeah, it does.
Only so much water will get in. Just enough to probably warrant it a trip back to Elon.
If you guys can use this in the 433 megahertz band over in the UK, has anybody done, for example, like a complete POTA or SOTA activation with Meshtastic?
That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean,
I guess that's
lots of stuff's happening.
It wouldn't be simplex though, Kjetil.
If you can do it direct node to node, then you can use any mode you want. So as long as you can guarantee it's not through another node, then it should be inside the rules for both of these.
That's the tricky bit, I suppose. If you could, I mean, you could use a different channel, not a different, or you could use a different RF channel, but in our 868 bands, you won't fit. We've got 250 kilohertz available, so you can't fit more than one RF channel there anyway. But you could change the maybe like the channel number or encryption or something like that to maybe get a SOTA or something. But so it was direct, because right now it's crazy. If I went to a hill, I probably would route through it. It'd be inevitable that we'd route through something. So Lewis, when you did that the other day, it was probably quite lucky, really, because normally you'd actually hit somebody else, wouldn't you?
Well, what we noticed was for the first few minutes we were making direct contacts. So we did 183 kilometers and 187 kilometers. And then after about 5 or 10 minutes, they started to route through other people then.
Yeah. Maybe because as those nodes beacon, they get added to the database of the device on the top. So then it knows that they're in that table of who to work through.
Yeah. But it's I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, I when Walt said before about like the Tropo and stuff like that, I had a ping from a lighthouse like 80 kilometers away direct. And I've never been able to do it. That was just from home. I've got an antenna in the attic, and that picked it up across flat ground. And I've never done it again direct. So I think that was just exceptional conditions. It would be interesting to see, especially on 433, because there's a lot of really good characteristics to that band, and reflections play a big part and all sorts. So I think it would be really interesting to try some 433, and I think people would be surprised how well it actually does.
Yeah, that's why I wondered about Tropo, like
and you can use stuff like this.
Yeah, but as Kjetil says, come summer, there's going to be Tropo openings, and I think it would be possible in these openings to get signals across from the UK to Norway.
I think so.
Yeah, and that would be just fantastically fun to set up a directional antennas at both ends. Just leave them beaconing and see if we can actually manage to get something across the North Sea. That would be
it would happen.
Epic.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, but this is like Tropo over the North Sea over to Scotland, for example. That's not very uncommon. Like that happens all the time.
On 77s?
No,
just 2 meters?
At least 2 meters. I have never checked 70. But I know a lot of old TV channels used to bounce over.
Yeah,
but of course, that was a bit more in megawatt range. Than
we get 446 stuff coming from like a lot of the guys on the East Coast. They get stuff coming from over like from the Netherlands and stuff. So
I had France at like S9 coming in around sort of September time. Nobody else could hear, but this, I mean, it's not uncommon. But I don't know how. It'd be interesting to see how it fades off towards the smaller wavelengths like 868. But I'm pretty sure it would work. I've definitely had pings from different places. I mean, I'm sitting here watching this like with one eye on pretty much all the time, because it's absolutely fascinating. You get.
I've just had 2 people say the receiving on here, like. And if I put a call out on 2 meters now, that wouldn't happen. So
it would break it'd break the system.
Yeah. Yesterday I tried a SOTA right next to the Norwegian ham meeting, 2 meters, called for 10 minutes, not a single reply. So like nobody on that ham meeting wanted a 2 meter QSO. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that ham meeting, they had a banquet yesterday. Everyone at that meeting was still in bed.
No, that was way out. What's when you were out activating?
All right.
Or hunting.
I see that HT Perry asked about some discussion about common configuration and antennas elevation, and that's a good comment though. And I guess as high as possible and as much gain as possible is the clue here.
Yeah. I mean, this is height is might, right? But it's not as important. I think I've had mine are up like 11 meters, and I think if you went higher with some extra gain, I don't know if it would. I'm in a fairly good spot here, You know, but not by no means anything like the hills that Lewis has got over there. Like,
Yeah, we do.
you know,
I mean, I'm on
it's
in
flat
quite a
here.
high location, so in the last 30 hours, these are the nodes I've picked up from home in the last 30 hours on a Yagi as well. So you get the
Whoa.
Are these,
And you know,
are these distinct nodes or just messages?
they're
that's
actual
that's
beacons, aren't they?
that's the node list. So there's easily 250, 300 on there, and that they've all been received in the last 30 hours. So
That
I
is
think
so amazing.
the problem we've got
Right.
is me and Andy, not to sound arrogant, but I think we've made it too big to the point where me and Andy were discussing yesterday about we sort of need to get our heads together on videos on how to relieve the congestion, because it's especially
careful
up
what you
here,
wish
it's
for.
really congested.
Yeah, I saw you had a video about showing how congested it is, Andy, a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not-
there was a comment in the chat about how to not configure your nodes, but it scrolled
Yeah.
past. So maybe Morten, you can go back to it. It was a very specific question, but maybe
I saw
Andy
it,
could.
but it's so far gone the chat. We've never had so much activity in the chat. So I got a couple of questions here though. Bob found it.
Yeah.
Actually. Then
Yeah,
I'm
I-
just gonna,
I don't
just gonna-
understand the question, but if either you two do, then maybe you have a comment on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've said from the beginning that so the nodes for you guys, the nodes you can set them at on different roles, and there's been a lot of different roles that you can set a node to. The most sort of predominant ones, popular ones, are client, which is just any node. And I've always said from the beginning it's best to just use that one for pretty much everything, because the misconception people have is that if they want to set that, they think, oh, I've got to set up a repeater, so I've got to put it in repeater mode. It doesn't work like that, because all of the nodes are repeaters. That's how a mesh works. They all forward packets on. So when you have this router and repeater modes, what it does is it kind of almost like, sort of describe it as like those particular roles will the mesh will the packets will prefer to route through a repeater or a router. So they're like magnets grabbing the packets like from the ether. The reality is that all they're doing is the router and the repeater mode, they just basically receive and transmit that packet before anything else. So the other nodes, they get in there first. So it's better just to have it in client mode, unless you want to really definitely route everything over a hilltop kind of thing, that sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully that's a roundabout way of kind of answering that question.
Yeah.
But
we got a couple of other questions here though. OH6CAD asked if you guys have any experience with WISBlock.
Not yet. No, I actually haven't done that yet, but I know that it's an amazing system. It's very well designed, and I have got some on order. But yeah, basically, it's a very good system. 433 and 868. Yeah, absolutely.
The comms channel's using WISBlock stuff. He does some really good videos. The comms channel is
it's professional, sort of professional gear. It's more, you can see that they make stuff for businesses and things like that, like proper.
Yep.
You've got enclosures with solar panels built in, and they've thought everything out, pretty well. The design is good.
And we got a question here from Jeff: if the technology is similar to an Arden mesh, and Arden is based upon Wi-Fi technology, though. So while both are mesh networks, they're not technologically similar, though. I would guess.
I've never.
I would think also the payload bandwidth of Arden is much bigger than the payload.
Yeah,
bandwidth of,
Arden is amateur radio emergency network, so it's a network IP-based technology.
Yeah, it's a TCP/IP network. So everything is different from that. It's
it's used the firmware. Do you flash the firmware on the? Routers are they?
You do, and it operates on the amateur 2.4 gigahertz bands and 5 gigahertz amateur bands. So it's the radios in the routers are able to actually just move a couple of kilohertz up outside the Wi-Fi bands and use the communication there. HT Perry's got another question here. With a Yagi, are you using it to mesh to nodes that you hope you are meshed with a greater distant mesh?
So for me, I use my Yagi because I have sort of hills to the northeast, hills to the east, and hills to the south. So I just beam sort of like northwest, and that works for me. But yeah, you would use them mainly for directional contacts because they are obviously directional. Andy, you're beaming both ways with yours, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got two directions. So one is going towards one town. There's not a lot else in the area. There's one town that way, and there's another one east, which is my immediate town, but I'm on the edge of that. So that Yagi pretty much covers that whole town, the next town, and beyond as well. Now I'm picking up. I'm getting some because there's now users there. And this has been the biggest eye opener is when you start to get a concentration of users, you start to realize where your signal's getting out to, which in the ham world you're sort of happy. You talk to a local and you go, oh, that's brilliant. I didn't know I could get to that particular place on 2 meters, and it's all exciting. But when there's just hundreds of people out there, then you can really build a picture of like where your signal's actually getting. It's eye opening. But the Yagis help. They do help.
Yeah, and it's back to the coax height antenna. Dr. Misfit asked if you have a long coax to your Yagi, and I would guess no there.
It's about that much. Something like
that. The point with these modules, they're really not power hungry. They're easily to put them in watertight enclosures. So there's no good reason to have them in the shack. They should be at the antenna, I think.
That's right. And the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi radios are pretty good, and the antennas I've got on the boards are very solid. I mean, I can sit in the back room. I've got the 2 nodes on a pole out here, and I can sit in the back room in the bedroom with a Samsung tablet, and I can just control all the nodes absolutely fine. Solid connection. It's pretty good.
Mine's the same. So my node is on one of these pigtails. It's actually shorter than this that goes straight into the Yagi. So you're eliminating as much loss as you can.
What you find with the because I've got an Omni. Originally, I put an omnidirectional sort of collinear type thing up. 10 meters of LMR 400, and I could see stuff on the SDR. It was kind of fine. I was even picking radio mics up in one video that I did, which is quite funny from a local studio somewhere. I never found out where that was. But basically, you find that obviously 100 milliwatts going up that coax and out the antenna. I could see the node for miles outside. It was absolutely fine, but you couldn't hear diddly squat. It wasn't picking anything up at all. So because obviously the signals are so weak, and they're just lost in the coax coming in. Going out's fine, but coming in was dreadful.
Yeah, and it's like any high frequency radio. You need to use as little coax as possible.
The problem is a lot of people kind of want to maybe put them up permanently. Like I'm in this situation. I've got a telescopic mast, which I change the antennas every 2 days, just trying different things. But yeah, if you want to put it up permanently, then you've got this problem with the firmware updating, because the firmware is moving at such a rate. That's like every 2 or 3 days there's a new firmware, and so if you put stuff up, on the top of a mast on the side of the house, then how are you gonna flash the firmware, because they require USB to. So it's like
So one thing I'm planning to do is I'm going to put a vertical. It's like this but longer on the side of the house. I'm going to run a short length of high spec coax into the loft and keep the node still in the loft. So you can get to it, but it's not running down into the shaft.
Because your arm.
I see that Scout 75 Shane's got a comment here, and he's done a lot of experimenting with LoRa on his YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to Shane, go ahead and subscribe to his channel. But he says you got to keep it in Bluetooth range of your laptop, tablet, phone that you have the Meshtastic phone on, and that's I guess that's pretty important if you want to use it.
Yeah.
But couldn't you also put a just a small Raspberry Pi up at the antenna and have a USB connection from that, so you can log into the Pi via Wi-Fi and do the update?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, you absolutely could do that. So just have like a Raspberry Pi mounted there. Yeah, that would be a sensible way of doing it on Wi-Fi, and then you can SSH into it or something or whatever.
Better than bringing all the mast down for every 2 days to
there you go. Solve my problem.
Yeah,
just got to
see, fantastic.
I just want to address a discussion going on in the chat here about using drones for the nodes. Check what's legal in your country or not before you do that.
In the requirements, in the requirements, it says airborne use allowed. In our document from Ofcom, it actually says airborne use.
That's not the problem. But are you allowed to keep a payload on your drone though?
If it's you get that 250 gram rule, don't you?
In Norway, you cannot use a payload on your drone. Period.
I think payload is something you move from place A to place B. It's not just because it's on the drone, it doesn't make it a payload, I think. I would also I need to say this. There's a concept in the law called plausible deniability, and if you actually do check up on your local laws, you lose plausible deniability. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Or you can listen to the guy that actually has a drone license in Norway.
Yeah,
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so yes, you can absolutely do this in Norway legally, but you cannot use it in the ham bands because absolutely everything within ham bands are illegal to use from drones or unpiloted aircraft in Norway. Because some fun guys decided to use 2.4 gigahertz to use telemetry and remote control of drones with a lot of power. And then it just got banned. But like the ISM bands, they are probably okay to use from there. Like
it's mad, isn't it? How it's different for that. Like you can encrypt all your data and everything, and you can send messages backwards and forwards in an ISM band. But you
can't drop these ones down.
And Steve's got a good point here. This is not legal advice, and please don't take anything we say as legal advice. That's just our disclaimer here.
So that's your legal advice.
Yeah. Don't listen to us on anything legal. We've tried that before, and I got a message from
don't trust us at all. Basically,
doing the APRS over LoRa. So
yeah, but one of the fun things here, like it was mentioned earlier as well, I think, is that if you buy these, be very sure which frequency you buy it for. So you don't, for example, run a 915 in Europe, which is very common for other equipment. Like back in the days when you used to have wireless phones, people bought US things when they were on vacation, and they messed up the cell phone network here, which is or was on 915.
There's got to be loads of stuff like that, isn't there, Lewis? Like, we talk about it quite a lot. Just stuff that shouldn't be there. You flick around on an SDR and you're like,
I bought some cordless phones from the early 2000s that were released in Dubai. They were counterfeit Nokia, and they actually transmitted in the civil air band here.
I saw that video. Great video, by the way.
And just another thing as well. I see a lot of people getting disappointed because they buy the Heltec board, but they buy the Wi-Fi board that doesn't have LoRa. So the posting on Facebook group saying I can't get this to flash, and
there's no antenna connector on it.
There's no antenna connector, no Bluetooth, nothing.
It's the new one. It doesn't need an antenna.
It's wireless.
We're getting close to the hour mark here, so I just want to say thank you for being on, and we've actually managed to be relatively on topic today, except for a couple of mishaps. So this has been a pretty new experience for us.
It's amazingly professional. I mean, it makes my channel look. Last time I tried to do a live stream, it did not look like this.
Well, you should take a look at our other streams, though. We usually don't stay on topic at all.
Nope.
We had one stream where we had to change the thumbnail and the description after we streamed it because we did not touch on topic at all.
Yeah.
That's
Announced the
creative
topic
flow.
and talked about something else. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's the creative flow, guys. That's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
certainly.
and if you by any chance are not subscribed to Andy or Louis's channels, which would be incredibly rare, give them a sub. And also the other guys around here, including myself, give us a sub here. Walt's showing his laptop with his channel there.
Coastal,
You're getting close to 15,000 there, Walt.
Yeah, Coastal
Right.
Waves and Wires,
Amazing.
amazing channel.
amazing. That's great.
9 away.
Well, the big question I have is, and anyone who's seen what Walt's Facebook page, he needs to get his antenna designs into a book.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Those
yes.
drawings. Yeah, have you got one, Walt?
That's works of art, these drawings.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that. Like, you know, eventually.
Yeah.
I tried to do something similar on my JPO video that I released a little while ago, and it did not look anything like Walt's drawings.
Honestly, I'm doing that. I'm going to do that. The hopes is I'll have it. I'm going to call it the Coastal Waves and Wires Antenna Sketchbook. And then what I'll do is I'll put my sketch there, and then everything I've sketched, I built. And then I'll do a little write-up on the antenna.
Yeah.
It'd be a brilliant book. Yeah.
You've got to do it. Well, that would be great.
You're writing the forward to the book. I want you to. Seriously, I'm not. I'm gonna,
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, everybody, check out this American's book. He thinks he knows what he's doing, but whatever. You know what I mean?
He makes amazing erections.
If it fails at ham radio, he can get a job with IKEA. So, you know.
So I guess that's it for today, though. Thank you, Andy and Louis, for being on, and thank you to Tobias's cat
Thanks
for being
having
on.
us. Yeah.
I hope to see a lot of you guys next week. This has been our biggest show ever in viewership. So at least I hope some of you guys come back. And we don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we'll probably be off topic again. And on that note, 7-3, guys.
7-3, guys.
73. Nice to meet you all.